Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My name is the Cooked Canuck, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you're looking for at least some amount of displeasure towards Xbox, which I think most people are actually feeling a massive amount of displeasure, mainly because of their subscription service, which used to be a very well praised thing by a lot of the gaming community, which now seems to be a contender for one of the biggest gaming blunders from Xbox. I mean, it's not probably not as bad as when they said you had to buy a camera for your console to hook it up, but hey, or having to be able to, having internet connected to it 24/7. Point being is that Xbox continues to ruin their own value, whether it be Game Pass, whether it be their actual consoles values, or whether it be, A, B through C. I think a lot of their decisions are made poorly, and the only reason people go to it because it was the cheaper option for a long time of console. PlayStation typically was a lot more money, and it did have a lot more exclusives, and I just think it's a premium more console. It is a very premium console. Not saying that Xbox is the poor console, but it is. Um, I don't like saying that it's the poor console because I do think Xbox is still a nice platform. I think any platform to play video games on is going to be nice, but there's really not a whole heck of a lot of reason to buy an Xbox. Like most games that are from Xbox are going to PlayStation or Nintendo. The only reason you would get an Xbox is like it's just the most generic console you could possibly get. And I know I say that compared to like Nintendo or PlayStation, but Xbox generally, I mean, they used to be known for being cheaper. Like that's the reason why the entire Xbox S console, I believe, exists, is to give a cheaper option to people to play video games. But yeah, especially with the digital version, but I think you lose so much by just buying digital games. And that's coming from a person who buys a lot of Steam games, okay? I think Steam is a much better platform than stuff like Xbox or buying digital games on Xbox, PlayStation, whatever. At least you can take your games to any computer versus, having it locked to one type of system. But that's just my personal belief. The point is that when you have a Game Pass subscription service like this, and I think it promotes not even buying games. I don't think it wants you to buy games. It wants you to rent games continuously, which I don't know if you know this, but when you have a lot of financial interest, it affects a lot of the other parts of the company, especially how games are developed and how games are thought of. If you are having a subscription service where people are coming in for the new monthly release, like almost like a movie theater, they're gonna drop out very quickly if they don't like what they're actually getting. And from when I was buying Game Pass, which I already had a ton of Steam games, I was just using it to basically get access to Starfield for a very short amount of time just to see how it was. I didn't like it. I was never a person that necessarily used Game Pass even when I bought it. It was a service I just think did not, it wasn't really required. And especially for PC when I'm not sure how it works on especially Xbox, but not having to pay for multiplayer or anything. There's not a lot of reason to own an Xbox. Like it, again, like unless you're getting I was about to say Xbox exclusives, but again, all the Xbox exclusives launch on Steam day one. They don't. I don't know. There's not a lot of reason to own an Xbox unless you want to own games physically, and even then, a lot of the Xbox consoles they release nowadays don't even come with a disc tray, which is a very sad, sad thing. But 1% of sales or something that are actually disc based, which is kind of sad. But that's just kind of the era we've kind of grown up into, and I'm especially a part of that era that we grew up in. Taking away those basically rights. And I was always like, oh, I don't want to buy a disc. It's easier to just boot it up from the console. Buy a disc, man. Anyways, the point I want to make today is that Xbox Game Pass was never really a good subscription service. I think it was always a subscription service that people bought 1 month and then unsubscribed and then got whatever they got out of it. That's at least my vision was for it. I know there are other people that bought it monthly. I don't get it personally. Whenever I have wanted to play particular video games, I wait and I buy it because it'll either go on sale for less than a subscription price, and I'll be able to re-download it, play it again and again and again, and you actually get to keep it to a certain extent. I know with online buying games digitally, again, licenses, there's a bunch of different stuff that goes into it. You can have it taken away. With Steam, I find even when they delist games, a lot of the time you get to keep them. Which is very nice. The only thing that is a problem is when you lose internet, but that's like with any digital game, like that's just an obvious thing. Um, the one thing I'll say is that on my Steam Deck, I've been playing offline games, and you can get stuff like GOG and stuff like that, which is very nice. Xbox, I believe you can now play games fully offline from that update that they had made from the original console release, which I still think is stupid. Having to connect to the internet at any point of booting the console up is dumb. Okay, you should not have to update your console. It should just be, oh, I bought this console, I boot it up. If you don't have internet, well, that sucks. You can still play video games. You can put the disc in and have yourself a fun time as long as those games don't have multiplayer in them. But Xbox doesn't want that because they want you connected to their services. They want you paying for internet. They want you paying for Game Pass. They want you paying for monthly subscriptions that you forget about or stuff like that. They want you paying into gold so you pay to play multiplayer, which you already technically pay for through your internet provider. But whatever. That's just my opinion. There is no point in buying an Xbox in 2025, just genuinely. The prices are too high compared to PlayStation, and PlayStation 5 is expensive, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to say they're a nicer console. The only thing I don't like about PlayStation 5, though, is the controller. I do love Xbox controllers 10 times more. They are way nicer. The actual layout doesn't make your hands cramped. Uh, I don't know. Game Pass has a lot of definite flaws. I think it's just a service, again, not a lot of people should have a lot of investment towards. You should not be sacrificing buying games for renting them because at the end of the day, when you rent games, you don't own them. And if you're fine with that, that's on you, man. But I personally, I like owning Fallout 4, okay? I like owning games that I can go back to and I've known and had good memories with. I will go back to it, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. But just buying a subscription service and not being able to go back to it, to a game or even a memory or something like that. Maybe it's more an emotional thing for me. That I like owning a game because it lets me feel like I actually get the product, I to a certain extent. If you're gonna buy it digitally, this is my opinion, and this is the only advice I will ever give. Buy it either on Steam or PC or GOG or something, a service that you can take into like you can port onto multiple computers and not have a problem with. If you're gonna go with the console, I don't even know what to tell you, man. Switch 2 is kind of like it doesn't give you a lot of access for what you want to do with a system that you're actually buying to own. Specifically the Nintendo Switch 2, not the original Switch. Just being able to hack it wise. And then PlayStation is similar. Like I get why they don't want them to hack their system so they don't get their games stolen or whatever. I don't really care, as most people don't. Um, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? I don't know. Like, I just think it ruins a lot of, and from what I've heard from different industries, and maybe I'll flash up a couple articles, is that like a lot of the subscription-based industry, whether it be for television, movies, for video games, for really anything, I feel like it's a very terrible practice. Um, because a lot of what the subscription service is meant to emulate stuff where older like on-demand services where you'd pay monthly or whatever for your little box that you get from whichever cable company. And the idea was that streaming would give you a lot more stuff on offer at a much reduced price, which seems to have flipped, and we are going to eventually get to a point where it's not going to be at a more affordable price than what cable was. It's going to be probably the same price, if not more, because like I think we all know that $30 a month for video games is a little bit overpriced. I know some people spend that like basically with Xbox Gold or whatever. I think it's too overpriced for me. Okay, I don't like. I think any games above 30 bucks is a huge stiff, and it's a large. It's a big canceling point for a lot of people. If it's a high price tag, a lot of people will not buy to it. A lot of people will buy it though. Like it's not surprising that people will buy the new thing to be a part of what everybody else is being a part of. But for me, it's I since all of the games that I've played and bought on release or whatever, I don't view it as like you should buy new games. You should wait till they come out, and I don't even think you should support streaming services at all when it comes to these games. You should see what other people say about these games, and I understand when it comes to games, to a certain extent, you have to play them to form your own opinion. But when it comes to streaming services and you just don't know whether you want to buy a game or not, that is a very I understand the dilemma of the subscription service. I just think that it does a lot more harm than it does good. I don't know. But that's my main point. I just want to really see what other people think because Xbox, I've owned Xboxes. Like I've owned an Xbox 360. It's not like I don't, and I've played the original Xbox when I was at other people's houses. But it's not. I think it's a lot of what the corporation has turned into, and I mean, it's not like it was a corporation always, and they've always made kind of bad decisions, whether it be on the Xbox 360 or Xbox, through different leadership. They have definitely had a ton of hiccups, and I think this is a definite huge one, especially for the stockholders. I don't know. I haven't checked Microsoft stock lately, but I'm assuming it is not exactly getting higher. Um, but so are not a lot of other gaming companies. I feel like a lot of the industry right now, for some reason, and maybe it's a lot of has to do with global stuff that's going on, is people just not being able to afford things, and I think that has to do with a lot of the world situation right now, especially in my country where work is not exactly easy to come by. We're in a generation, and it's not that uh there aren't good games coming out or there aren't, it's just like how much it's a worth it difference. It's like sure, $80 video games, like yeah, they would be a really nice experience, but also I like eating at the end of the month, I don't want to like starve, okay? Which I think that's where a lot of people go into the subscription services because they think, oh, it's cheaper over time because it's not I wouldn't even say it's cheaper over time, it's just cheaper in the moment, which is understandable. But if you're playing that game for a long time, realistically, you're gonna go over that month subscription and then you're gonna be like, oh, I wish I bought it. But that's me. Maybe that's just me. I'm a person that thinks of uh, replaying games, and I like again, I've gone back to games that I've played for a year, like Red Dead 2. I don't have it installed. I'll probably install it twice more this year just to play through a couple more times or whatever. But that's just because I love Red Dead 2. If you like games, you should spend money on those games and support the developers, if you can. But like again, I don't think even a lot of gaming developers blame people who pirate games because what's going on right now. But let me know what you think. I just want to know everybody's opinion because it's a very interesting topic. Alrighty, peace out.